Fashion is all about the here and now. What's a must-have one year can look extremely dated the next. Go back on the fashion timeline for a look at some of yesterday's most memorable collections with the Year in Fashion. In 2011, the fashion industry reached new artistic heights and, in the blink of an eye, experienced shocking lows. From sorrow to celebration, these events leave their mark on the history of fashion. In 2011, Chanel designer Karl Lagerfeld created a stunning cinematic fashion moment in Paris.
He never ceases to surprise you, and that's just, it's genius.
7th Avenue rainmaker Marc Jacobs gave a nod to the legendary Yves Saint Laurent.
It was breathtaking. I don't mean to be overly dramatic.
For American designers, the CFDA Awards left an emotional impact.
Very fuzzy and warm. Thank you.
In Milan, Gucci celebrated its 90th anniversary. While in New York, there is a 100th birthday bash for Women's Wear Daily.
I wish I'm gonna look that good when I'm 100.
The Met paid tribute to the late Alexander McQueen with a captivating retrospective. In Montreal, an exhibition honored Jean-Paul Gaultier.
All my 35 years of clothes, for me something like unique.
2011 saw John Galliano's career falter amid scandal. The year also saw Lady Gaga add modeling for Mugler to her resume, and much more. The love affair between Chanel and cinema continued with the Spring 2011 collection. Inspired by the 1961 film Last Year at Marienbad, designer Karl Lagerfeld transformed the Grand Palais exhibition hall into a French garden, reminiscent of one of the film's iconic scenes. The connection between the film and the house goes even deeper. The wardrobe of the film's leading lady, Delphine Seyrig, was designed by Coco Chanel herself.
How do you feel about Chanel?
I love Chanel. Who doesn't?
It's just a great mixture of ultimate elegance, but with a twist of it being contemporary. I mean, that's what Karl Lagerfeld does. He takes the heritage of Chanel and just makes it every time contemporary, new and fresh. You know, he's got a million ideas, and you know, he never ceases to surprise you, and that's just, it's genius. He is a genius.
I thought the Chanel connection was absolutely incredible, and Karl Lagerfeld put on a show which really did France proud. We had the Paris Philharmonic, an extraordinary urban garden that he created in the Grand Palais, and it was really a magnificent spectacle, and it made you understand how important Chanel is to French culture and to French industry, but really it's running like a seam through the French character, and I thought that was really on show today.
This time the entire Grand Palais was this kind of formal sort of parterre, but done in a kind of moonscape with sort of fake lava rock in black and pebbles and stones. And the catwalk alone was 350 meters.
I absolutely loved it. It definitely was one of the highlights of Paris Fashion Week so far. So such a beautiful collection, wearable, the feathers were beautiful, the new length that he showed, it really was from head to toe a winner.
Every look that came out was, you know, one more perfect than the next, and the music, and obviously this, you know, very grand setting at the Grand Palais. I mean, it was everything combined.
"90 models, and Inez de la Fressange, who used to be the original Coco Muse, returned to the Chanel catwalk after an absence of 21 years. So it was sensational.
That was so unbelievable. I'm completely overwhelmed by the whole thing. You know, we've been away for a very long time, and just when you're ready to go home, you know, you have a show like this that reminds us all why we're in fashion and what a genius Karl Lagerfeld is, and the opulence of the House of Chanel. It was just a magical, magical experience, and I'm very grateful to have had it.
At Cipriani in New York, Women's Wear Daily feted its 100th year of fashion coverage with a star-studded gala.
Yay, yay, women's wear, huh? Good for them. That's staying power.
WWD is informative, fun, and it tells stories that people can't get anywhere else.
They are the Bible in the industry, and they've had tremendous influence.
It's such a big part of my life. I mean, I started getting Women's Wear Daily when I was 12.
I can remember the first line of my first review. I think it said, "In a downtown gallery to a standing room crowd, reeking of fresh paint." Young designer Michael Kors showed his collection.
I got my first covers in it was actually on my birthday, I have to say. It was a lot of reason to celebrate. So it was on August 1998, August 25th, 1998.
I had the cover for my show at the Apollo Theatre in Harlem. It was 10 years ago.
Just being recognized by Women's Wear made me feel that I had a chance to maybe make a statement.
Women's Wear Daily is such an incredible institution. I read it every morning. I looked through that 100th anniversary issue this morning. It was so incredible to really see 100 years documented by one publication.
There's 100 moments in the issue. Okay, well, we didn't want it to be a history. So there were some very, very important things that were left out. It was sort of things that really resonated, that were very, very important historically.
We had a reporter on the Titanic who survived and described women's clothes as they were getting into the lifeboats, just the incredible imagery that Mr. Fairchild had put together through the 60s and 70s of Jackie O.
It was difficult because you get to 100 very quickly. Very quickly.
The evening also included a silent charity auction of one-of-a-kind items from top designers, including everything from a Tom Ford limited edition fragrance set to a Tommy Hilfiger Wagoneer.
You know, we have a Wagoneer in our advertising, so we thought we'd auction one off tonight to allow the proceeds to go to the cause.
The auction items are amazing. These were created by designers all over the world, top names in fashion to celebrate our 100th, and then they're being auctioned for the charity of their choice.
They support me because they love us, because they help us through the years, so it's only normal we come and enjoy.
WWD is an important icon in fashion, and I actually couldn't believe it's 100 years.
All I can think of is like, I wish I'm gonna look that good when I'm 100.
At the Fashion Institute of Technology, an exhibition titled Japan Fashion Now highlighted the revolutionary impact of Japanese fashion within the past 25 years.
I had always been interested in Japanese fashion, and then Japanese street style. We knew how important Japanese fashion was in the 80s, but I thought, what's happened in the 25 years since then? And that was the inspiration. Japanese fashion totally revolutionized the fashion industry in the 80s. That was huge. In a way, some fashion historians have really called it the end of 100 years of fashion, a completely new kind of look, a new relationship between body and clothes, a new idea of beauty, and a new recognition that fashion could be art. You get the first few people like Kenzo and Hanai Mori and Miyake coming to Paris. Then you get Yoji and Ray at Comme des Garçons and that revolution. It's black, it's deconstructed, it's very much that period. Then you walk into the big room and the idea is as if you were dropped down in the middle of 21st century Tokyo. On your left, you have the avant-garde and high fashion styles, but they're different. Comme des Garçons is now doing pink instead of black. Then you have new designers, people like Jun Takahashi from Undercover, younger designers from brands like Sakai and Matohu. Then you see there's a whole range of amazing menswear designers. Phenomenon, John Lawrence Sullivan, Mastermind. The rise of Japanese street style and its influence on Japanese high fashion and avant-garde fashion is a kind of eclectic, popular culture. And because the Japanese are a culture which is and has been obsessed with fashion for a long time, and a culture which has tremendously high standards of quality, what you get there is a kind of laboratory of fashion, which tends to be more fashion forward than anywhere else in the world. What you find is the 90s, it's Japanese street style, which is suddenly a fascination to everyone around the world. Not only the Lolitas and Gothic Lolitas, but new ones like sort of princess decoration style, the forest girl style. And all of those anti-fashion street styles, everything from the obsession with Japanese denim, the world's best blue jeans, the idea that Japan has amazing fashion technology, things inspired by utility clothes, army clothes, this incredible creativity which keeps flaring up dramatically both within the fashion world and on the street, which I think is an inspiration to all of us. And then finally a little section about cosplay, which is not fashion, it's a kind of performance art and fan base, but tremendously creative young kids dressing up as manga and anime and video game characters, which ties it all back into the idea that this is something which is all about Japanese pop culture in general and its tremendous worldwide influence. Is Japan still the future? And in many ways it is still a sort of a futuristic vision of fashion because the Japanese are such neophiliacs. They really love the new and that keeps pushing fashion forward. And I think we can't really guess where it will go, just that it's going to keep on going.
I think that Marc Jacobs is just a genius. Everything that he does is always beautiful. And I'm just excited to be part of the big production.
So it's high maintenance hair, it's wavy, it's glamorous, and either doing the crazy pin set or using the curling iron to create waves. And then I'm just going to spritz it off, as I say, a little bit of quick dry on the end.
For the show, we picked really like a green, like a deep forest green with some glitter in it. We're adding Vaseline to it, so there's a lot of shine. It's very rich. So we try to bring a little bit of that glam into the show today.
Saint Laurent, Saint Laurent, Saint Laurent. I am waiting for that Saint Laurent moment to happen here in New York, and I finally got it last night. I am absolutely over the moon about that collection Marc Jacobs shown.
A wonderful trip down memory lane. Dozens of references that we all recognize, little bits of Missoni or Saint Laurent, Walter Albini, Marc just said a little bit of Kenzo, but it was all kind of put together with his usual sort of flash and dash, and it was very feminine, very, very hot, and the color palette was just superb.
I love the Marc Jacobs show. The inspiration was clearly 70s. I kept thinking Marissa Berenson, even a little bit of Taxi Driver in the styling.
There felt like a lot of Guy Bourdin in the hair and the makeup and the beautiful flowers in the hair and around the neck.
It was breathtaking. I don't mean to be overly dramatic, but I thought it was so full of color and joy and fun.
What I really loved about it was the languid sexiness. The clothes just move beautifully, and I feel like there's been a whole turn away from that hard edge rock and roll thing that has been going on for a couple of seasons. Everything was biker this, biker that, or you know, really short and severe and studded and jeweled, and that suddenly seems all wrong to me. And this kind of softer, gentler, but undeniably sexy silhouette is where it's at this week.
I love the whole satin, like the little satin hot pants suit. It was great, and beautiful pants and off-the-shoulder blouses, all those beautiful chiffon bi-colored dresses I thought were so sexy and wonderful. And you know, we've seen them in the 70s, but we want to wear them now, and he did it really well.
I also like that whole boho chic, that rich hippie, that luxe peasant idea, these longer maxi skirts and even the maxi dresses with all the great flat sandals, or maybe a wedge on a platform that wraps around the ankle. Super chic, the time is right, and we're all feeling it. That show, a standout for me.
I really thought it was one of the best collections so far of the week, and people have asked me, what was your favorite collection so far? And I think for the first time in a long time, I said I really didn't have one, which is not to say there haven't been great collections, there have. But this is now it.
Hi, my name is Joan Smalls. I just kind of got into it because I grew tall. So people would keep saying, oh, you should model, you should model. I'm like, okay, whatever. So then I tried it and did like the elite model look, which I lost. But I met one of the bookers. So then one summer I came up to New York and I met him again at an agency. So then that's how it started. Then I came over here to live and, you know, work as a professional model full time. And ever since, that's what I've been doing. I am from Puerto Rico. Yeah, my family is like #1 supporter. My mom is my #1 diehard fan. They're extremely encouraging, supportive. Whenever I need something from them, they're a phone call away. So they're happy. They're like, oh, I can't believe my boo-boo is doing this. Or like, they always see me as that little child, the little, you know, not nerdy, but always getting into trouble. 2 older, beautiful sisters. We look like siblings because my mother, she's Puerto Rican, she's light-skinned. My dad is from St. Thomas and dark-skinned. So then my middle sister came out lighter. My oldest sister came out the same complexion I am, but like with a chocolatey undertone, and I had the caramel. I would say Oscar de la Renta would be my first big one. You're making me go through a trip down memory lane. Favorite moment, Givenchy exclusive. Favorite moment, first time I shot with Steven Meisel. That's like a dream come true to every girl. Being in American Vogue, then being in the September issue, being shot with Steven for Vogue, doing Marc Jacobs. I could go on and on. What do I like? The interviews.
Good answer. Good answer.
I like going somewhere, like the destination itself. I just don't like the process of going to the airport and checking in and waiting for hours and, oh, it's delayed. Oh, like, only if you could transport yourself and be like, oh, you're there. That would be it. And being away from my family is the most, like, sometimes I get teary when I start thinking about them, so I get homesick sometimes. I'm Puerto Rican. I don't believe in diets. I prefer working out to get tone rather than not eating or having a diet. I want to enjoy food. I enjoy tasty food and greasy. I like cooking pasta because it's really quick. But I could do rice, I could do beans, meat, whatever. actually went to college and studied psychology and finished like really, really quick, so I'm glad I did that. It was an interesting subject and I liked, you know, the whole idea of psychology, but at this moment, no. I like keeping my mind focused on one thing at a time and giving it all my all.
A constellation of celebrities, designers, and models gathered at Lincoln Center's Alice Tully Hall in New York for the 2011 CFDA Awards, considered the Oscars of the American fashion industry.
I think it's fantastic. I think it's just sort of art in motion.
I think the CFDA Awards is an amazing moment where all the community, all this profession get together. I think it's a highly glamorous moment.
And the glamorous moments were well on display.
This is Jay Mandel, and I'm really excited because it comes straight off the design rack. It hasn't been shown yet.
I'm wearing Rachel Roy. I'm her date tonight.
David Meister. We put it on and I was so excited to wear it.
Oh, I just got these Rick Owens pants, which I love. So it's like, I'm wearing those.
But one name was practically on everyone's lips.
And I'm actually excited about Lady Gaga tonight.
I'm your biggest fan. I follow you until you love me. Paparazzi.
I'm obsessed with Lady Gaga, so I'm really excited for that moment.
I want to know how she walks in those shoes. I mean, that is ridiculous. I have never seen a pair of shoes like that in my life. For that person to put that kind of energy and that kind of love into her work, you know, she really does have to be celebrated.
Lady Gaga is a very talented young woman, and she pushes the boundaries, and we wanted to celebrate that.
And celebrate they did, paying homage to the rebel pop star with the Fashion Icon Award. In true Lady Gaga form, she flashed the elite audience her studded thong, virtually anointing them her little monsters.
I can't believe I'm allowed in here. Because there are many who didn't understand my face and didn't understand my style or what I was trying to say. But there were just a few of you that loved it so much. So thank you for believing in me. And thank you for what you do for my fans and for young people all over the world who need the fantasy to survive.
The fashion community is known to cheer each other on.
I'm definitely rooting for my very good friend Alex Wang, and but I'm also rooting for Jack and Lazaro.
I'm not nominated, so far as I know. I don't know, maybe there's always a chance.
I'm rooting for him.
Oh, I'm rooting for you.
Thanks.
Jack McCullough and Lazaro Hernandez.
The mutual admiration worked. Proenza Schooler designers Lazaro Hernandez and Jack McCullough walked away with the coveted Trova for Women's Wear Designer of the Year.
You get a huge vote of confidence from your peers. What's better than that? You know?
Just to be honored by like your industry, it's really meaningful for us.
Continuing their support of emerging talent, the Swarovski Award for Accessory Design went to Eddie Borgo. Prabal Gurung got the nod for women's wear, and the menswear recipient was Robert Geller.
I really was surprised, honestly, and so happy and honored and just full of joy.
The International Award was given to Phoebe Philo for her work at Celine. The always swag and equally controversial Kanye West was on good behavior as he acknowledged her creative impact.
It was an amazing moment for me at Coachella to be able to come up on the lift and to say the line, "Am I chick in that new Phoebe Philo?" I don't currently have a girlfriend, but I was actually in Phoebe Philo that night.
A nervous Alexander Wang accepted the statuette for Accessory Designer of the Year from style maven Iris Apfel, and sweetly offered to share.
Can I share this with you?
Oh, please.
And just help me through it a little bit. Thank you so much.
I have amazing company. I bring a really good date and friend who just keeps me calm and tries to keep me grounded.
Hollywood hunk Gerard Butler was on hand to announce the Menswear Designer of the Year.
And the menswear designer of the year is Michael Bastian.
I just know I'm very happy and very proud and very honored to have this.
A true highlight of the evening was Sofia Coppola bestowing Marc Jacobs with the Jeffrey Bean Lifetime Achievement Award. Jacobs has referred to the honor as his half-lifetime achievement award.
This statue may serve as a great reminder of where we've been, but it is here in my heart that I look forward to where we have still to go and what we have yet to achieve together. Once again, thank you all for giving Robert and I this, our dream, and for all of our dreams still to come. Thank you.
It's an award for what he's accomplished so far in his short years, and I think Marc is certainly one of the most talented and creative designers and at the top of the game for American designers.
I worked for Marc for many, many years, and it was an experience for me, I think, that really helped mold and shape me as a designer.
The curious thing about Marc is that he's the most influential designer in the world, possibly simply because he doesn't covet your affection.
At the end of the event, Marc told us how he felt about the recognition.
Very fuzzy and warm. Thank you.
As the CFDA 2011 Fashion Icon honoree, Lady Gaga's unique style cannot be denied. This same year, the pop star and muse to designer Nicola Formichetti took to the runway for his Mugler show.
It was wild and crazy and a fantastic show, and certainly to be looked at over and over again, the video of Lady Gaga, who is a delight to watch.
I think the combination of Nicola and Lady Gaga is an immediate moment, relevant for the times we live in, and how can you not love a Lady Gaga moment in fashion?
Look at this. It's like the movie stuff. I feel like Cinderella.
You know, it's one of the most elegant nights in the whole industry. New York is just lit up by this incredible event to celebrate a genius in our industry.
The genius being celebrated by the Metropolitan Museum of Art's Costume Institute was that of Alexander McQueen. Hollywood heavyweights mingled with the fashion elite on the red carpet, and all paid tribute to the late British designer.
Oh my God. I miss him. I think he was a brilliant designer and very provocative and creative, perfect balance of both. And I think that the fashion world is really missing that right now.
He showed how to be beyond any fashion imagination in a way, you know, with his very own visions. And that's what made him really like spectacular in what he did, you know.
Great designer. Really quite tragic, the loss of him. It was nice to have a little bit of an edge and a rebel and a real strong point of view, and you know, it's nice that they're honoring him tonight.
His legacy, this is just the beginning, and he would be very happy for this to be happening tonight.
The exhibition inside, entitled Savage Beauty, examined the work of Lee Alexander McQueen, who is one of the fashion world's most acclaimed and provocative talents.
The show's really based around McQueen's engagement with 19th century romanticism. I always felt that McQueen's life and his fashions unfolded like a Byronic sort of poem. And he was deeply romantic in the Byronic sense of the word. The themes of the exhibition are structured around recurring themes in McQueen's work, but themes that also were very prevalent to the Romantic movement. So things like nature, exoticism, primitivism, nationalism. And these are all themes that McQueen would engage with deeply throughout his career, but were also reflected by artists and writers of the 19th century Romantic movement. this gallery is primarily looking at McQueen's methods of cut and construction. He was an extraordinary craftsman, and he trained on Savile Row, and so knew the skills of his trade very well. And I think because he knew them so intimately, he was able to subvert them and upend those details. And I think what's interesting about his tailoring is how he was able to, in a way, combine the rigors of tailoring with the spontaneity and playfulness of dressmaking, which you see in this particular piece behind us with the hard shoulder, the nipped-in waist, but then the deconstructed skirt. And I think it's because he knew how to make clothes so intimately that he was able to subvert those practices. You're very conscious of showing a legacy that is true to him and true to who he was as a designer. And luckily, because all of his team are still together, we were able to work with people like Sarah Burton. So it was great having access to Sarah to find about McQueen's design process. So just in our conversations, I learned so much about how McQueen would construct a collection and how his fashions came together.
Sarah Burton, currently at the helm of the label, was on hand to talk about her experience working with McQueen.
When I walked into the exhibition, I thought of Lee. The emotion, passion, and attention to detail he had for everything that he did. The Sunday that he walked along the beach at Fairlight and came to work on the Monday morning with bags full of razor clamshells, the studio smelt like the sea. I'm very proud and honoured to have worked for him. He truly was a genius.
Collection after collection, McQueen always knew how to put on a show, and everyone has a favorite McQueen moment.
One of my favourite collections was a show called Number 13, which ended with Shalom Harlow rotating on a turntable with this robot spray painting her, and that was the first collection I went to.
The dress, which was all red bugle beads going into a mask, which is extraordinary.
You know, I really liked a moment when he did all like the feathers, painted feathers, all the bright, beautiful colors like reds, yellows, greens, and blues. I thought it was pretty amazing.
Obviously the Kate hologram, which they've reproduced so beautifully on that reduced scale, it's miraculous. That was really special. But I mean, it was just one visceral experience after another, really phenomenal.
I think that he would often tap into our fears, our hopes, our desires, and would reflect them in his fashions. And the fact that he would also challenge normative conventions of beauty. You know, McQueen was very much about looking at alternative notions of beauty, distinction or difference. And I think he would upend and challenge our expectations of beauty.
Intense with the eyes, beautiful.
At Gucci, the 90th anniversary show was a vibrant expression of the ultimate in luxury and glamorous sex appeal, signatures of the storied Italian fashion house.
I think Gucci was outstanding. The color mixes were out of this world. You know, Frida Giannini is certainly continuing on with her love of Saint Laurent, and there's no better person to look to for color inspiration. So all of this idea of cranberry and rose and magenta and plum together.
Gucci, since she made a big change, less, if you want, aggressive in a certain way, less black leather, more feminine and beautiful colors.
Frida tapped into color last spring, and I think she's going with it for fall. It seems to work very well for her. It's something she feels very comfortable in. I liked that she kind of stepped things up a bit. You know, she's obviously been thinking about the pant. You know, Gucci's always known for their pants. There were a lot of 70s YSL references, you know, very sophisticated, very European palette.
At the opposite end of the spectrum, what we're seeing in Milan a lot is this idea of navy, teal, and turquoise mixed with sky blue. So there's that really warm, sensual color palette, or this very more blue story that's a little bit cooler but super chic.
really enjoyed the Gucci show. It's had, for me, had a very strong Saint Laurent vibe, but done in her own way. I thought the colors were amazing.
A lot of polka dots, black and white, color contrasting. She also piled on the accessories. We saw the glasses and the big, they're like the Aristotle Onassis glasses, but they were in the beautiful colors. She got the Jackie O bag back, made it into a shoulder strap. She threw another bag, you know, the bags, double bags on the runway. The bags, the iconic bags were on the runway. I mean, one right after another. She seems to have returned to that, so it was sort of like a greatest hits of the Gucci's bags. You know, the thing that Gucci always used to do, you know, was a great shoe, the must-have shoe of the season, and it always was very sexy, but at the same time very wearable, and I think you saw that here with, it, as I said, the modified platforms. Chiffon is back. That's something that we haven't seen in a long time.
The colors were incredible, and the hair and makeup, the attitude of the girls, it was all full-on Gucci. I think it was a very strong show for Frida.
In 1996, designer Joan Galliano was chosen to helm the iconic French label Christian Dior. Galliano's flair for drama and masterful techniques took the house to new levels of success over the years, and his imagination seemed to have no limits.
John is like a, you know, he's like a rare hothouse flower.
I mean, John's been so much about a romantic message, but in a big, explosive way.
He's kind of our resident fantasist, and he, you know, transports us through his designs to, you know, in a sense, known yet unknown places.
Whatever inspires him is never taken literally. It's always associated, reinvented, reinterpreted by John in his own way. There's nothing he hates, there's nothing that's forbidden. I mean, some people hate green, some people hate shiny, some people hate I don't know what. John doesn't hate anything, he can touch anything and turn it into something beautiful to his eyes. 10 times a year, time after time, he still can reinvent himself, and whatever subject he's dealing with, he will reinvent.
Sadly, his time at Dior came to a sudden and ugly end, when on the first day of the Fall-Winter 2011 Paris collections, Galliano was fired from the historic house. Days earlier, he'd been arrested for allegedly making racial insults in a Parisian bar. Citing a zero-tolerance policy, he was subsequently dismissed by Dior.
At first, people were shocked, and then you analyze it, you think about it, you just feel very profoundly sad about the whole thing.
It's a real sad moment in Paris to not have Galliano with us.
Where Galliano will end up is still undecided, but his talent and imagination will surely be missed until his return. In Paris, after the house's breakup with its creative director, Joan Galliano, just days earlier, the anticipation of what was going to happen at the Christian Dior show was palpable. At showtime, Sidi Toledano, president and CEO of Dior, gave a moving speech about the values of the house and importance of the craftspeople who work there.
Ce que vous allez voir maintenant, le résultat de leur immense travail.
Sidi Toledano made a very graceful, well put together statement about the values of the house and the people that matter in the house, and really framed the show.
Although Joan Galliano did conceive of the collection, he was not there for final approvals. The collection was finished by Dior's in-house design team. What came down the runway was a romantic fall-winter collection. Lush fabrications were complemented by a feminine silhouette. From baby doll dresses and coats to sheer chiffon, lace, and tulle gowns, the Dior collection projected a youthful, flirty appeal.
It's always difficult to judge a collection when the designer, didn't have the last look at it. Sure, it was very Galliano. There were a lot of the Empire line that he loved so much. And, like the coats were quite beautiful, and some also very beautiful dresses.
What did I think of Dior? I thought it showed that in the end, the brand is bigger than the person, and I think that's quite an important lesson for everyone who designs for a house to understand. The way they reacted was a necessity.
You cannot forget all the work that goes in a collection, and I think it was really wonderful to see all the people that work at the collection coming out at the end of the show to take the applause.
It's a great pleasure because for me it's a big honor. I love Montreal. They are very nice. So to work with them and to do a stylism of mixing all my 35 years of clothes, for me it's something unique.
The Montreal Museum of Fine Arts celebrated Jean-Paul Gaultier with an exhibition exploring some of the constant themes in his work. It was important to both Gaultier and the museum not to hold a retrospective.
He's still creating, he's very much alive, and I think the best of his work is to come. So to make a retrospective would have been wrong. So the thematic approach and to just show the obsessions and the passions of Jean-Paul Gaultier through the years from 1970 to now.
It's things that I did in different parts of my career and that I work all over the year, always. The sailor part, I did a lot of sailor. Oh, every year I do one new sailor, some outfit like trench coat, all that. For me it's important because it's the base that I like to work on it, and I think I have always, I hope, I have always something to say about it and to make it in a new way.
The boudoir is a section where you discover what initiated Gaultier's involvement in the fashion world, how he discovered fashion through the grandmother, and also the inspiration of the corset and the lingerie. So you see all the different corsets, the first corset dress, and also the costumes from the Blonde Ambition tour, the two iconic corsets from Madonna.
Madonna opened up her closet to the museum, lending several of her costumes to the exhibition.
After that, you have all the work on skin. It's called Skin Deep. It was very much influenced by the work of tattoos and the trompe-l'œil of the body, but also to show how we can show skin through clothes. So it's the use of lace, the use of bondage strap, and he included so many different ideas and pieces that were usually meant to be in the sex shops that were included in ready-to-wear.
That is like a striptease, but what is more striptease than to see the bones? It's like a skeleton almost, and only it's under the deep. It's like my spirit, like when I did the first corset dress. It was to put something from inside. You have like a underwear, and you put it outside. So here is the underskin you have, which is outside. So it's things about like a flesh, color of flesh, scarification, all that. I love to work on it, and I think there is always new way to show it. It's what I try to propose every year.
You have the punk Cancan section, which is very much about the haute couture of Paris, with the opposition of the London punks and the influence of London, because it was very much influenced by London punks and their unique approach to haute couture in a way to customize their own clothes without any money. Urban jungle, it's all the mix of either both the animal world with all the different skins, but also fake skins and the trompe-l'œil pieces like the leopard skin dress that is exhibited that took 1,060 hours to create. But also in this gallery you discover all the mix of the culture, the approach to uniqueness, to travel, even if he made collection about places where he never went. It's places from his imagination. It's a mix of cultures, which is very important to him. In the last section called Metropolis, it's where you discover all the technological aspect of his work with the approach with new fabrics. It's almost like a prophetic vision when you think of his work and all the collaborations he did.
A highlight of the museum's presentation were the specially crafted mannequins, which seemed to come to life. The faces of some of the designer's closest collaborators, including Gaultier's own visage, were projected onto the molded heads.
If you know Jean-Paul Gaultier's world and you see how creative and how alive and fun it is, you know, it would be wrong, I think, to show Gaultier's work only on boring mannequin.
It's so amazing how early he established those codes for the house. You know, you look back and you see pieces and they could be done today. I think that's really fantastic. Nothing looks out of date, not even Madonna's corset.
I think he's one of the few designers who's able to really take bits of the culture that we see as we, you know, go about our daily lives and turn it into something that's really artful. And his ability to stir up a little trouble when he takes those cultural touchstones and puts them on the runway.
It is my clothes, but not exactly in the way I presented at the time. Some are, but it's more like the things that I am, let's say, proud of, and like that are the most in my art important.